to record companies saying, we need another Pride. He says, okay, what does that mean? We need the hit singles.
Right.
We'll say, well, listen, we gave you, we had the hit singles on Pride, but they weren't hit singles written purposely to be hit singles.
Sure, because you hadn't had a hit yet.
Right, so they were just songs that became hit singles, and they were just songs we wrote.
Yeah.
Now you got somebody telling you, now you have to purposely write a hit single. Now, how do you do that? Purposely write a hit single. I mean, there's people out there who do that. But we weren't that kind of band to do that. So on Big Game, we had a setback. It didn't sell as many,
Still went at least gold. I know it went gold. And then the third album, which is actually, it's one of those cases where it's a great, great, great album. But unfortunately, again, it was over by then, basically, in terms of the scene and what was going on. Or the fourth album, technically.
Yeah. Basically, I remember we were playing at Wembley with Motley Crue and Skid Row. And, Skid Row went on, and you know how they are live. I mean, they were just killing the place.
Yeah.
And Motley Crue had a great show, and here we are sandwiched in between because we were doing a headlining tour of Europe by ourselves, and they said, wouldn't it be great if they played at Wembley with Motley Crue and Skid Row? And what happened is we were on that Big Game tour, and we realized that night on stage at Wembley to say, these songs aren't translating because when you've got tens of thousands of angry British rockers out in the audience,
drunk,
if you don't have a certain type of music, it just wasn't working. And we all looked at each other on stage and said, we need to throw in some of our better stuff in here. And we said, what better stuff? We need to write more for who we are. Because this is not translating.
Yeah.
And then we went back to the States and we told the record label, we says, no more tours on this album. We're going to do the album that we want to do.
Right.
And they said, well, considering how the last album did, they said, go ahead. Just give us what you got. They gave us unlimited funds. I mean, that was a $500,000 record to record.
Main attraction.
Yeah. I mean, they just said, go and do everything that you want. The problem is, by the time it came out, that whole scene was over with.
Yeah. We got to take a break. Vito Bratta is here, and he is sharing these stories that you guys have been waiting to hear.
I'm hoping, Ed, that all of these stories are not too much on the negative end.
No. You're telling it like it is. Look, people have been waiting. Like I said, you by and large have laid low for 15 years since that period, for the most part. So again, you're here, and I appreciate you being here because people have asked nonstop, through email and everywhere I go, whatever happened to Vito Bratta? Where is he? What is he doing? What did he do? How come he's not doing anything? So we're going to get to all that. We're going to get to some music. I know what you want to do as well is you want to play some of the bands that you loved and that inspired you to play guitar and some of your favorites.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Like, what's the evolution of a what would you call me? Guitar player?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What's the evolution? How does it start?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know what people think that you listen to when you're a kid, and...
you probably find out it's pretty much what all of us pretty much listen to for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
So it's just when you have a song like Waitin' When the Children Cry, and then you say, well, basically my theme song as a kid was The Ripper by Judas Priest. So, nah, I don't think so. And then, I just said I'd like to play the songs that meant something to me.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to do that, and we're also going to take your phone calls as well. I know there's a ton of people listening all over the world, actually, via online and throughout whatever radio stations you're listening to the show on that want to talk to Vito. And, again, that toll-free number is 888-872-1043 or 212-869-1043. So we'll do a break. We'll come back. We'll hit you with a couple songs, and then we'll go to the phones a little bit later on. And, I don't know, we'll just kind of feel it out, whatever you guys want to do. And, obviously, much more to talk about and get into with Vito Bratta, who is it's been like 15 years since you've done anything like this, right?
The last time I even spoke a word was, I think, 1991.
So 16 years of silence is being broken tonight, and we'll continue more with Vito, your phone calls, music, everything else coming up on this special show. Stick around.
This is Q1043's Friday Night Rocks with Eddie Trunk.
And real quick, couple upcoming shows you should know about. Bratta is here, folks. You've been asking for over a decade, and he has come in on a very cold and icy, chilly night here in New York City to hang out, tell some stories, answer all your questions, talk about music, and, of course, play some of the music that he wants to play as well. Vito, living in the New York area, is you've listened to the show before. Like I said, he was successful excited when Wayne came in. He knew about Wayne.
I had to know who Wayne was.
Now you see him.
Now I've got all I can hear in my head is Mike Piazza saying, "Here's Wayne."
And next time you see Doro Pesch, ask her about Wayne. She'll tell you who he is. Hold on, Wayne. Wayne had a moment of alcoholic excess when Doro was sitting right there. Yeah, and he was just slobbering on her.
After the Slayer show.
And she was petrified of him. It's great.
Not in Germany, here.
No, right here, right where you're sitting, actually. Yep. So let's play some music. We'll get a couple songs in. I know the lines are jammed. Everyone wants to get in and talk to Vito, and we'll get into all that stuff as well.
That's just family, Ed.
That's it. They all just want to say hello, you owe them money or something like that. We have a lot of stories to tell along the way, of course, and like I said, we will get your phone calls in as well. But one of the things that Vito wanted to do coming in to do the show was play some of the music that that you were a fan of and that kind of inspired you as a guitar player. And this one I did not know about in all the years I've known you, Angel.
You know, it's funny. I see that and I say, wow, that was such a big part of that song. When I first got together with my drummer, Nicky Capozzi, who played drums on Fight to Survive. And, Angel was like the big band, Angel and Priest. And I know how, different that sounds, Angel and Priest. But back, like I said, back then, when you're kids, nobody's thinking of, oh no, that's the more commercial band, this is the heavy. We just loved them all.
Well, it's funny what I was telling you off the air before we came on about Angel, and I find this constantly. Everyone I talk to is Angel is a case where you either absolutely loved them or you've never heard of them and have no clue who they are. Wayne, have you ever heard Angel?
No.
No idea.
Not till the other night.
So it's a total one extreme or the other, and I find myself having to explain to people because there's so many that have no idea who they were, but they put out like 5-6 records in the 70s, same label as Kiss on Casablanca. They were like the white, clean, pretty version of Kiss. They were all white and all,
right.
and all that. They had a stage show where they just materialized on stage, and they had one of the coolest logos ever, which you turn it upside down and it reads the same thing. Did you ever know that?
Yeah, that's like in that...
Like that?
Oh, see?
Yeah. It's the same thing.
I thought I was an Angel fan, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And I'm not even a big Angel fan, but I know that. I mean, I like them. But
it's funny, Ed. I'm sitting here telling you how, how big that band was for me, and that song, The Tower. I mean, I played that in my high school, the high school dance. I mean, we used to open up with The Tower. And then I got to remember that, say, wait a minute, the bass player in Angel was the bass player in White Lion.
He was in the White Lion for one point.
So that was a... when you're a kid in one of your favorite bands, all of a sudden he's playing, with you.
Yeah. And Angel broke up around 80. The last hurrah was they were in the Jodie Foster movie Foxes. And it's so weird because they had this aura of being this very, bigger band than they actually were. They never had a hit. A bona fide hit single. I don't even think they ever had a gold record in America. They were out of Washington, D.C. area, and they were known for the theatrics and their look and all that, and a lot of people absolutely loved their music. I like some of it. Some of it was a little bit too keyboard dominant for me.
Right.
Greg Giuffria was the keyboard player, but the guitar player in Angel was very much a cult figure. Yeah, he'd be a guy that people would be excited if I could track down and have on.
Yeah, I mean...
Talk about recluse, Funky Meadows.
That was hair.
That was hair. Absolutely.
That put us all to shame.
Yeah. Well, here it is. This is Vito's pick, Tower from Angel, to get us started. Bring it back. Vito's just getting memories. He's having like a bad trip back to his club days right now. Vito Bratta is here with us. Picking records. We'll take your phone calls. Much more to come. Hang out. So Angel doing Tower, 2 songs picked by my very special guest hanging out for the show tonight, Vito Bratta, a guitarist from White Lion who has not done anything like this in over 15 years, just hanging, talking music, telling his story a little bit, and we're going to get more into that as the show progresses. We're also going to incorporate your phone calls right after the break. You guys that have been waiting for all these years, all these emails, everyone wants to talk to Vito. We're going to get you in here. So all the lines are jammed now. I'm not going to bother giving out the number, but when they do open up, 888-872-1043 is the toll-free line. Back with your phone calls, more music, more stories, more discussion. with Vito Bratta live in the studio right after this. We're doing a little bit of a special show tonight, so we're not going to do metal news right now. We'll try to get to that a little later if there's time. But Vito Bratta is in the studio with us hanging out, and we want to get your phone calls in. It's funny, too, because Vito's sitting here picking all these records that he wants to play, which we're going to work music in, too. But you know, you haven't talked, no one's heard from you in like 16 years. You know, we can hold off on a Priest song for this time, you know?
All right.
And now, you know, and you live right here, so now that you're back, you know, you can come and be my co-host anytime you want, you know?
All right, co-host.
But we've got to get, you know, people on that want to say hello to you, because this is, I'm telling you, I was in the city today, I ran into Bruno Ravel from Danger Danger on the street, comes up to me, first thing he says, Vito's coming on tonight, right? I mean, everyone's like, Vito's coming on. I was like, yeah, it's actually happening. So the first guy that we're going to get on the phone right now as we do this Vito Bratta, This Is Your Life moment, is the man who produced much of the White Lion recordings, checking in, I believe, from Nashville, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this can't be.
Producer extraordinaire Michael Wagner. Michael.
Hey,
oh
how
my
are you guys?
God, Michael. What
Vito,
are you doing?
What's going on, man?
This really feels like one of those like game show moments, doesn't it?
Really?
Totally, man. I got goosebumps.
Oh my God, how have you been?
I'm busy, man. I'm totally busy down here, stuck in Nashville.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to the man who mixed Master of Puppets, as well as countless other classic hard rock and metal albums. And for those of you that came to the Skid Row Halloween party last October, Michael was Michael was there as well. He came in and did the new Skids album and came in and hung out with us, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great.
So,
it was great.
So you also were as shocked as anyone when you heard Vito was doing a radio interview, right, Michael?
Absolutely. I've been trying to find the guy for years, and here he is.
Do you have a check for me or something?
No, man, you're one of my favorite guitar players. Don't forget that.
Thank you. See, now, I mean, how cool is that compliment coming from this guy?
No, exactly. I mean, Ozzy, Metallica, goes on, Skid Row, White Lion, goes on and on.
The guys that, Michael, the guys that you've worked with, man, that's really a compliment. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Your solos are some of the best all-time solos I've recorded, man.
Oh, thank you.
Give us a little story, Michael. Michael produced the Pride album, of course. It sold over 2 million copies, and also the album after it as well, Big Game. Michael, give us a little, while we got you on the line here, give us a little story from the studio back in the day when you worked with White Lion.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
I know there's so many.
That's 100 years ago. Well, you know, what can I say, Vito? What's a good story to tell?
Is there anything that you stands out, or anything that you recorded that you remember, or anything?
Yeah, there's something we remember. Remember when we did Pride?
Right.
We were at Amigo Studios, and the door opens in the middle of us recording, and the guy walks in, looks around, and goes, "What's love got to do with it?" And then walks out. Ike Turner.
Ike Turner walked in?
He walked in, and we're in the middle of recording a song. We all looked at each other, and immediately we didn't know who he was. And then he goes, "What's love got to do with it?" And then he walked back out, and we go, "What?"
That studio was always somebody walking in and out, and you know that was the first time that we came out to California. And you know, I mean, what did I know? I was stuck on Staten Island, and I'm standing, and all these people are walking in and out. You know, just major stars, and
and Al Cooper walks in and hands Vito a guitar, a black Strat.
Oh, yeah.
Vito plays a solo on it, and then Al Cooper goes, "Well, that used to belong to Hendrix."
Yeah, he brings Jimi Hendrix's black Stratocaster, and he goes, he goes, "Here, use this for the album."
Hey, that was rock and roll, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. I remember doing. Michael said, "You know, okay, we need to record the solos." And Mike, you remember when you said, "Okay, go ahead," and I did the solo for "Wait."
Yeah.
And I did it as a rehearsal, and you turned around. And I said, "Okay, when are we going to do the
real thing?"
And you said, "That was it."
And that's the solo on the record. One take, one go, man. That's what I'm saying. Some of my favorite stuff.
I remember I was so stiff. And, you know, when I listened to the Fight to Survive album, I heard stuff that, you know, what happened on Fight to Survive is I recorded, like, a basic track. And I says, well, later on, I'm going to come do the real guitar stuff. And then there was no later on. That was it.
A lot of times demos and first takes are better than what ultimately ends up coming on there. Don't you agree, Michael?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I went into the studio to do Pride, and I was recording the same way. I says, let me record like a bass track, just nice and basic. And Michael Wagner was the guy who says, what are you doing? You can't play like that. Just play. And I never would have played any of that stuff if it was Michael pushing me to do that.
Well, Michael, we got a ton of people that want to jump on and talk to Vito, as you could imagine. But
Absolutely.
I appreciate you calling in. You're working on the new King's X record right now,
Yeah,
right?
we're right in the middle of the record doing 15 songs, and it's coming out amazing. For every King's X fan out there, watch out. This is going to be a big one.
Well, I love the last record that you did with them as well. I thought it was one of my favorites in a long time from them. So tell the guys I said hello. And I don't know, I think we're going to have to soften Vito up a little bit along the way here. Maybe get you two guys in the studio again somewhere down the line.
I would love that.
Well, Michael, I'll get a hold of you.
I got your info. I got his info.
Ed got all my info.
I'll call you.
Cool, man.
Michael, thanks for coming on. It was great hearing from you.
Vito.
Take care of yourself.
And you.
See you, Michael.
Bye-bye.
I still want you to come up here and sit in with us one of these nights.
I know. As soon as I get out of the studio, we'll do that.
Talk about the stories this guy's got. He was in Accept, for God's sakes. That alone we can talk about.
It's unbelievable.
I'll see you, Michael.
All right, talk to you guys
Take
later.
care, Mike.
There he is. Legendary producer Michael Wagner.
Oh my God! How did you manage to do that?
Well, he again, when the word went out, you were coming in over the last week. He was one of the guys that called me immediately. He's like, I gotta talk to Vito. Give me a number.
This is amazing.
So I have no more surprise. Anything else that happens truly is a surprise besides regular callers, because I didn't line up
the
like
guy's an Accept. He does Master of Puppets, and like I said, to work with him.
No, I didn't line up like your old accountant or anything like that. So
Please.
all right, let's get some folks on that want to talk to you now and see where we're going to begin. We're going to go out to Miami and talk to Eddie. Eddie.
Hey, Vito, how you doing?
Hey, Eddie. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Eddie?
I'm good. Thanks, man.
I've been harassing you for months about Vito and stuff, and I had a question for Vito. First of all, Vito, I'm sorry to hear about your father passing away last year.
Oh, thank you.
That everything's well, that your family's doing well.
Thank you.
I had a couple of questions for you. I'll go through them quickly, and then I'll wait for you to answer them. First of all, I saw your picture on Metal Edge magazine on a Civil War project you were working on with John Levesque. Does that project still exist? Will it be released anytime soon?
Oh, well, actually, you're reminding me, because I forgot that there was actually a name, I guess. Civil War was going to be the band, and John Levesque, that's right, from Wild Horses.
Yes.
No, that was in 1990. That was when White Line broke up. That was 1992, 1993. That's not going to happen.
All right,
Did you record anything? Did you actually record stuff? Was it demos or what was it?
No, it was just demos.
Demos?
Yeah.
All right, I have 3 other questions for you.
Eddie, real quick, a ton of people are waiting here.
Okay, about Mike Tramp, do you see any time in the future you guys reuniting and taking White Lion out on tour again? And what's your take on the whole Tramp's White Lion band that he has together right now?
This is the first caller you get opens up the major can of worms.
Hey, look, this is something that you might as well get it out of the way. We might, people want. I mean, this is something that everyone listening wants to know what you're going to do if you're going to do anything.
As far as working with Mike Tramp again and doing the White Lion thing, I've never said no to anything. I've said no for certain reasons. Things have happened in my life where I've had to say no to people, to say, listen, I just can't do this right now, and there were reasons behind it.
I don't want to pry, and I don't want you to go there if you don't want to go there. But one of the things, and I've been saying this for a long time when people have asked me, with this look of astonishment of, the guy is such a great guitar player, how is he not doing anything? And, I don't, people that are personal friends like you are and others, I'm not going to divulge personal business on the air. I draw a line there. But a lot of the reasons why you had to not perform in the last 15 years are, to me, incredibly admirable reasons, and reasons you should be extremely proud of. And I think that, you shouldn't, I just want people to know that I think what happens is that we're such fans of musicians, whether people are fans of you or you're a fan of this band or whatever, that fans forget, like you and I, that there's a human side to this, that these people have families and other commitments they only see you or anyone, whether it's Steven Tyler or Eddie Van Halen or whatever, as these entertainers that they want output from. Mm-hmm. They don't see them as people that have a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, whatever, that there's a human connection there, and there's stuff that goes on in people's worlds that takes precedent over that. And, I'm not going to get into it anymore unless you go there at some point, but that really, in a nutshell, is what you were dealing with. I talked to you through a lot of the stuff you went through. And you should be really proud. I mean, of people ask me, I'll equate it like this, and then I'll shut up. People ask me all the time for years, the last 4 or 5 years, about a guy that you and I both know and you played with and I've known forever, Ace Frehley. Mm-hmm. And people say all the time about Ace, they're like, my God, it's been so long, the guy's not doing anything, he's not touring, whatever. Well, look, Ace has been on this show. Everyone knows that Ace has battled substance abuse. This has nothing to do with your issues, but, I mean, Ace's issues is substance abuse. Now, to me, on the human side of it, as a friend, I'd much rather see Ace be healthy and not drunk and clean and clear like he's been for the last few years than have him be a wreck and jeopardize his life by going back into the rock and roll lifestyle if he's not ready yet. So that's the whole point in a nutshell. Everyone has things going on. You had stuff going on for a long time within the dynamic of your family, and that's something that, what you did, I mean, your reasons are really, really admirable. I really have a lot of respect for it.
Well, I appreciate all of that. My father had a 5-year illness. It was just a nightmare, and there was no one who was going to take care of him except for me and my mom, and that's what we did to the very end. And unfortunately, you can't just walk away. Now, in the White Lion days, it's not just you that's young. You're in your 20s, but your parents are young too. Mm-hmm. There's really no medical stuff going on. And I remember the tour bus pulling up, and 2 years. It's like, oh, there's a 2-year tour? Fine. I don't, make it a 3-year tour. None of this stuff happened. But as you get older, there's responsibilities and things, and there's, financial too. It's, when you're young, I remember when White Lion went out, and me, Mike, and Greg, and James, we never spoke about, I don't think anybody ever said, how much are we making tonight? No one said a word about money, because we were so used to not having any that nobody cared. But then it gets to a point in your life where, you got bills to pay, and it's not just you that's going to suffer. Yeah. There's other people who are going to suffer and say, well, I'm going to go out and do this White Lion reunion tour, and I'm not going to really make much, but I'm going to have a blast. Well, you can't, there's bills to be paid, and you can't tell the electric guy, well, I'm having a blast. You got to pay bills. That, and like I said, the family illness, and it just always seemed to be something. And to answer,
so you've never said never to a reunion. It's just not been the right time. You have more important issues.
Is Ed still on the line?
No,
he asked these questions, but
and then obviously the other thing is,
I never said no. I never said no, but the problem is, it's now I'm going to use these stupid analogies I always do. When you got a girlfriend and you break up and she's basically cheating on you in front of you, saying, well, if you don't get back together with me, this is what I'm going to keep doing. And the more she cheats, the more you're not going to get back with her. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that I have to keep watching, Mike do these Tramps, White Lion, and all that stuff, and I've always wished the guy luck. But the more he does these things, the more it makes me not want to, be a part of anything. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much I can do to stop it. I just, wish I could. I wish that didn't exist. I wish that part of it didn't exist. I understand what he's doing and all that stuff. I don't like it. I don't, I wish he wouldn't do it, but I understand why he's doing it. I wish him luck, but I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody I'm not going to do the White Lion thing ever again. I did kind of lie to you a little bit, Eddie, when you had asked me one time, are the rumors of a hand injury true? And I said, no, they're false. I mean, they actually were true. Mm-hmm. I did injure, I snapped something in my wrist about 1997, I think it was, that just prevented me from playing all day.
You didn't tell me. Get the hell out of here, right? Your microphone's off. He didn't tell me the truth about that.
Well,
no, I know. Look,
it wasn't a hand injury that, in other words, I didn't know if I was making up my own excuses. This is going to be Dr. Phil now on Eddie's show. But I did have a hand injury. And the thing is that I was the type that played 14 hours a day. I mean, it was ridiculous what I was doing. I used to get home 4 o'clock in the morning from club shows and play another 2 hours. I just was always playing. And to stay at guitar players will understand, to get to a certain level, you have to maintain it. It's like an athlete. And basically, I was like a marathon runner who couldn't run more than 10 feet. So how was I going to keep it up?
Right.
So these are things I'm hoping to get over.
Where does that stand now? Do you feel better? Do you still play? Do you still practice?
It's gotten better, but I haven't tried to do like I just remember the actual injury I had was when I was touching steel strings. It would feel like I was touching a live wire, like I was having electrical shocks. And the doctors basically told me, they said, listen, it's 50-50. You could lose your hand, the use of your hand, or you could be cured. And it's up to me to decide, do I want to play through pain? And in the midst of all of this, the family stuff was happening and everything else. So I had excuses for myself coming left and right.
Right.
No, I can't play because of my hand. No, I can't play because my dad's not feeling well. I can't play because of this. But to answer his question after all of this, I'm not going to say no, it'll never happen.
Right.
I would love for it to happen today.
Right.
To be honest with you. I just don't think it can happen today.
Right.
But I'm not going to shut the door. And Mike Tramp knows that. And what I keep appealing to Mike is stop shutting the door in my face. You know what I mean?
By doing the records and the bands that, White Lion with other people and all this stuff and doing versions of the band.
Right.
Right. Let's do a song right now, and we'll come back. And so much more we need to get into, so many more phone calls here as well. But I want to, of course, we're talking about Vito's career and everything that he's gone through and where we are now in 2007 with Vito in the studio and hanging with us for the first time in about 15 years. But I think it's important to remember the music that Vito has made, and hopefully music he will make again somewhere down the line. And there is a new release that has arrived in stores called White Lion, the Definitive Collection. It's a 2-CD set, basically a greatest hits compilation. But the really cool thing about this is there's about 10 or 12 live songs on here, recorded here in New York City at the Ritz on the Pride Tour. And I know, Vito, you haven't heard this yet. You don't even know, where this came from or what the quality of the sound is on this.
I was actually just cracking up. There's some guy on the internet. It's great.
There's a lot of internet presence for you. I've heard from a lot of your these fan forums and stuff that are Vito Bratta or whatever.
I'm just thinking because there's a guy who's so upset about this whole thing tonight.
That you're coming on here?
Well, he's really into the whole death metal thing. You can tell by the whole thing that he's doing, and he's just like he's having a fit.
If he's into the death metal thing, why would he care about my show? I never play that stuff.
Exactly.
That's not what this show is.
Exactly. No, I just you're talking. I'm picturing his emails.
Why would he even know? Why would he even be on the Vito Bratta fan site if he's into death metal?
I know, but I'm looking at somebody emailed me this website. I couldn't tell you what the website was.
You can't even get into that stuff. That's just.
It was just hilarious. Like I said, I never did anything to this guy.
Well, that's the greatest thing. You get all these emails. I mean, I've been getting them for years. Where you just.
It's like my girlfriend said. I said, what could it be that set this guy off? And she said, just the fact that you exist is just destroying this person.
I can relate to that because I get emails constantly from people who know every single word and thing that I've said on this show, but tell me how much they hate me and hate the show. And I say, well, then how come you just were able in your hate email to rattle off every record I played and guest I've had for the past 20 years? You must be listening. I mean, if I hate something, I don't listen to it.
I'm just picturing this guy tonight just twitching in his chair, and I...
listening to his Venom records and cursing you. Cursing us, whatever.
Actually, I think we played with Venom. Did we play with Venom?
I don't know. I can't imagine that, Bill, but maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. There could be a possibility that we play with Venom. But this was the early days. This was the very early days.
Let's play a song and we'll send this out to the death metal guy.
Right.
This is the brand new released live recording that came from the Ritz in the late 80s here of Vito and White Lion, Greg D'Angelo, James Lomenzo, and Mike Tramp performing in New York City in what was a very big show. This was you guys taking the next step just before Pride really blew up, playing the Ritz, right?
Yeah, I think this was before. What could it have been? I think it was before the Aerosmith tour. And I think this was when the whole thing just happened.
All right, let's play it right now. This is a song, the studio version of which comes from the Pride album. It's one of my favorite songs from White Lion, and probably my favorite on Pride. It's a live version of Lady of the Valley, available on White Lion, the definitive collection. More music, more calls, more stories as we continue. Vito Bratta here in the studio with us. All right, Vito, evaluate your performance from 20 years ago. What do you think?
Thinking of the clinkers in there.
That's it. Oh, all musicians do that. They just focus on the one or two bad things in there.
I can't help it.
How many clinkers did you hear in there?
I heard 2.
2? 2 on you or someone else?
No, I'm not.
You're just counting you?
I'm not going to critique anybody else.
Or clams, as I've heard them called.
Yeah, clams.
Somebody said, I just hit a clam. Anyway, White Lion, that is a live recording. There's about 12 of those tracks that are released now as part of this new compilation.
At least I know it really is live.
Yeah, well, I've said that so many times in this show. I'm so tired of people cleaning up and making fake live recordings or live DVDs that are clearly re-recorded.
No, live albums were my favorite thing when I was a kid. I just, and then you get into the business and you meet people who actually worked on those albums.
You find out they're not live at all.
It's really disappointing.
I know.
So, clams and everything.
Yeah, you got to leave them in there. And the biggest culprit of that, and I've said this so many times on this show, is DVDs. You can watch a DVD. It's like karaoke. You can tell that they went in and re-recorded everything, and it doesn't even feel like a live show. Meanwhile, if I take out a bootleg, I feel like I'm actually at a live show, because that's how it really sounds. Right. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Vito Bratta is here. Man, we're halfway done with the show. It's amazing how quick the time has flown here. You guys have been asking forever, and he is finally here, breaking a more than 15-year silence on this show, and I appreciate you doing so. We got so many people that still want to jump on the line and talk to you. We've just really scratched the surface, and obviously more music to play, too. More things that Vito wants to hear and play that influenced him as a player, and we'll get into all that and much more.
You have a lot more CDs than I have, so... There's a lot of songs I haven't heard since I was a kid.
Yeah, well...
And I don't even have the CDs.
Well, we'll play all that stuff or whatever we have time for, and, of course, more of your phone calls. We'll take a few more of those when we come back from the break with Vito Bratta. Still halfway to go, so stick around.
This is Q.
Reached the halfway point of the show, but we still have 90 minutes left to go in this special edition with Vito Bratta, guitarist from White Lion, joining us in the studio, playing records, telling stories, and trying to get you guys caught up on the last 15 years of what Vito has been up to. And I know so many of you want to jump on the line, and we'll try to rifle through some calls here as quick as possible. We'll go to Vito's hometown of Staten Island, Laureen. Hi, Laureen.
Hi, Vito. How are you?
Laureen.
Do you know?
I know Lorene. Hi, Lorene.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So what made you pop out of the woodwork?
Eddie Trunk. I've been saying no to Eddie Trunk for years now, and I just can't do it anymore.
He came to my house around Christmas, and as he left, I go, "Would you just do the show?" And he said, "You know what?" He goes, "I will." And then this record came out, which you didn't even know about, and I told you about it.
Well, I always said I don't want to come on when I have nothing to promote. I mean, this is not a new album. This is not, anything like that. I wish it was. But I always told you, I said, I have nothing to promote.
Yeah.
But
do you have any plans on
having something to promote?
Or?
Do I have any plans?
Yeah, for getting a band together or anything like that.
Let's just. I mean, the will is there. It's like I want to do it, but I can't sit here and say, yeah, I'm going to do it next week and all that stuff. There's a part of me that has to get over the fact that I still feel like it's White Lion or nothing. I went through that for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. Where I just felt like this loyalty to this entity, and said, I'm forever going to be the guy in White Lion, no matter what band I do. I said, why don't I just do White Lion and just get it over with?
Well, look, I think a lot of people would love that, and myself included, but I also don't think that you should limit yourself to that. In other words, your status as a guitar player transcended that whole scene and that whole era. Mm. So you could easily do something else as well, even if it was instrumental or with a different band, in addition to White Lion.
Like I
people
said,
are going to listen to it because they want to hear you play, regardless of what it is.
I appreciate all the compliments, and
I'm not blowing smoke. I mean, a lot of people feel that way.
Well, it's like I said, that was part of keeping me back. Was I felt like it had to be White Lion or nothing else. And, then there's realization that if that doesn't happen, I do something else. I'm going to jump in. I got a friend of mine, who's pushing me now to come and jam with him and just to see how it feels.
Yeah.
But I need some time, with just a guitar in my hand and just see what I can do again.
Well, this is a big step for you, just coming here and doing this and on that road, I would think.
It's a
just
start.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I owe you big time.
Nah, you don't owe me anything. What are you kidding me?
Please.
Brian in Edison, New Jersey, you're on with Vito Bratta.
Thanks, Lorene, wherever you went.
Yeah, Lorene, thanks.
Hey, Eddie. Hey, Vito.
Who's this?
Brian in Edison.
Brian, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? I have a question. I've heard a lot of people make comparisons to Eddie Van Halen. I was wondering what you thought about that, and what were some of your biggest influences and inspirations to play guitar?
Well, obviously the Van Halen thing is a compliment because he's Eddie Van Halen. And it's funny because I've heard it from Eddie Van Halen himself.
There's actually on the White Lion Escape from Brooklyn video, there's actually a shot of you and Eddie Van Halen at a picnic table or something, right?
Actually, they wouldn't let his manager wouldn't let him be in it.
Well, I have the outtake.
Oh, you do?
Because I know it exists. I've seen it.
Yeah,
I thought it's on my cut of it. I have the special cut.
Okay, I don't have that. But the way I remember it was this guy, we were sharing rehearsal studios. Van Halen was rehearsing for their tour, and we were rehearsing for our tour. And we were all hanging out in the parking lot, talking cars and stuff. Everybody had their cars outside. And some guy came up with a piece of a guitar, and he comes up to me, and he's just, you're the greatest. You're the greatest. And he's thinking the whole time that I'm Eddie Van Halen. And I think I remember turning to him and I pointed to Eddie and I said, "Well, how about that guy?" And he's like, "Who's that?" I said, "That's a guy from White Lion." He's like, "Oh, he's all right too." And we were gonna have that, but
that footage of that exists. I have it somewhere. I've seen it.
Every time that I've been hung out with Eddie Van Halen. Not that we've hung out, but
right.
The times that I've run into him, he's just been so gracious, and he's never ever said anything, detrimental or hey, why do you sound like me? And it's just one of those things that you click with a. If it's a relationship, you say it's my soulmate, and with Eddie Van Halen, it was just something that and it's not just me.
No, you're right.
It's like every guitarist for the past, 25 years. And it's just something that I didn't go purposely. I didn't try to do it purposely. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh, I got to sound like Eddie Van Halen. But if I did, I wasn't going to stop myself to say, no, that sounds a little too much like Van Halen.
Right.
To him, it was, what's that expression of imitation is the
highest form of flattery.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I couldn't help it. There's no way I could change it. He's just such a big part of me. And
are you excited about this tour?
I'm excited about this tour.
The reunion with Roth that they're doing. Yeah, it's just still a little bit weird.
I feel weird.
The whole Michael Anthony thing is still weird that he's not in it. His son is playing bass, right?
Right. Yeah, I've heard about that, yeah. and it's weird because I remember one of the last times I saw Eddie was telling his little son, Wolfgang, to say hi to Vito. And I said, Eddie, I don't think he can because he was only, 6 months old. And,
Eddie's shaking the kid. No, say hi to Vito.
I know, but listen, when Eddie's talking to you, just, So, I'm picturing this little kid now on stage at the Garden playing the beginning of Running with the Devil, and it's kind of difficult, but
he's got no love lost for Michael Anthony, which is clear. He's not letting Michael back in the band. He's calling him by his real last name, which I didn't even know up until Sobolewski or something is his real last name, because he keeps just calling him Sobolewski, and there's definitely some issues there. And then in the latest swipe at Michael Anthony that I saw in the press, and I think this news clip is up on my site, he said something about, well, what does it matter? He hasn't played on a Van Halen album in years.
Oh, wow.
Now, I never heard that one before. That was really a shot to say that wasn't Michael Anthony playing on those records. So that he I don't know if he realizes the can of worms he opened, but it raised my eyebrow when I read it today online. I was like, whoa.
Who played on the
I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. But he's trying to say he didn't. He goes, he's an okay bass player and all, but who cares if he's in the band? He hasn't played on records in years. And I'm like, whoa. And the one thing Michael Anthony did do, though, is the fact that, and I've said this many times, a lot of people always felt that high harmony in Van Halen.
Oh, yeah, where's the harmonies?
That's Michael Anthony, all that high stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. Again, I just wish they'd bury the hatchet and figure out a way to make that work, because you just have this one, you've waited all these years for this reunion, you've got this one weird kind of factor. And I'm sure his kid's a great musician, look at his genes, but it's just weird.
Yeah, coming from one who's been there, and I'm still going, I'm actually answering questions tonight about it. When there's a band breakup, it's an ugly thing, and I'm sure all these things that Eddie's saying are just, the hurt, some kind of hurt, something's going on, because
that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in a few weeks, wow, what a circus that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
with him standing, with Sobolewski or whatever his name is, standing there after taking all this heat in the press, and it's just, and he said, he goes, there's people I don't want to play with, and I'm not going to play with them that night. So there's a lot of drama that's going to be on that stage that night. I can't wait to see how it comes off.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Hold on, Wayne, you got to get on a mic. Nobody can hear what you're saying. What are you saying?
Will Sobolewski be there, or the guy that actually played on it?
Put the mic by your mouth, not the beer bottle when you're trying to talk. He's talking to the beer bottle and the mic's on.
Hello?
Sobolewski. He wants Sobolewski. Right. Imagine at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, they bring out, here's Jake Schmidt, the real guy who played on all the Van Halen records on bass.
Who's that?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I bet you it was Eddie. He probably played it if Michael didn't, but I don't know if this is just ugly, just more ugliness or what.
I thought all that stuff was done live, so it couldn't be Eddie.
I don't know. This is Hollywood, California. Is it Gazindra?
Jazindra.
Hi, you're live on the air. Thanks for listening.
Hi, Eddie. I love your show. Hi, Vito.
Hi, Jazindra.
Thanks.
You are the reason that I'm here in Hollywood trying to get my heavy metal band together.
Wow.
20 years ago, I saw you on TV, and I told my mother I was a real little kid. I said, that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a heavy metal singer so I can play with that guy.
You mean you're in Tramp's White Lion?
And
I don't...
I know where you're coming from. I just wanted to say thank you for the music that you've given me, because it was my sanctuary when I was growing up. I had a really hard childhood, and your music really saved me. And my dad also went through a very long illness, and he eventually passed away from it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, your guitar, your playing spoke to me. It was my hero. You're my hero. So
you're not the one on that thrash metal site. That's not you.
And the funny thing is, you were talking about how Priest and Angel and how they're so different. You listen to them. Well, I listen to Children of Bodom, but I listen to you every day.
Well, see, that's what it's about. That's the whole point. It's like you don't have to draw lines in the sand. I like this, so I can't like that. You can. It's fine. It's like, I've preached that for 20 years on the radio. It's like, it's all good. You're in different moods, different music. You don't have to put up this facade. I mean, when I was in high school, I've said this so many times, if I wasn't the big chooch that I am, 6'2", whatever, I would have gotten my ass kicked every day just because I wouldn't follow the trends. Like, all these people in my high school would walk around with, Neil Young and Santana records, and nothing against those records or Grateful Dead or whatever, but they couldn't name you 2 songs. That was the trendy thing to be into. Exactly. But I'm sitting there with the UFO Mechanics album cover in my locker, and Kiss, which was the most uncool band in history at that time. People wanted to beat me up. They couldn't, how could you be like this?
And I went through a similar thing. I'm pretty, and I was a cheerleader, and I would say, well, I'm going to see Metallica, or I'm listening to White Lion, and they thought I was crazy because they listened to pop. And
do you have a band now? Are you in a band now?
Yes, I'm in a band right now. I live in Hollywood, right on the boulevard right there.
I'm going to be there next. I'm going to be there next week. Is your band playing?
We're not playing yet. I'm looking for guitarists like Vito Bratta.
Oh, okay.
If you want to join, but
I can't play. I would have come to see you though, because I'm going to be in LA next week. I would have come to see you, but okay.
Awesome. And do you have long hair still, Vito?
Ask Ed.
Yeah, he's wearing a winter hat, but he does. Vito looks... thank you for the call, Jazindra, and good luck with your...
take care, Jazindra.
Vito looks identical for those that we should take a picture at some point tonight if someone has a camera as proof. Because I'm telling you, you look identical. Nothing's changed. And I'm not just saying that. It's crazy, man. You look the same.
Somebody said I look like I stepped off the back of the Main Attraction album.
Yeah.
No, I could never change.
Yeah, you look identical.
You know, you were talking about in 1987, 1988, I was in Hollywood somewhere, and David Cassidy was there. And someone said, we want to take a picture of you two guys. And this girl, I'm not going to know who she was from the record label, says, no, we can't have that. It's not
bad imaging.
It's not good for your image. And I said, oh, you're right. So I went and stood next to David and took a whole bunch of pictures. I don't know, someone's got it. Whoever's out there's got it. Send it to me. Because I said, something? This thing where you draw these lines of pop bands and metal bands. I said, this guy, when I was hanging out in third grade, this guy was on tour. This guy made me want to grow my hair long.
Yeah.
I know it was the Partridge Family. I'm not stupid. I know that whole scene. Right. But I'm saying the guy, at the time, when you're 9 years old and there's this guy on TV with long hair and you're like, I want to look like that. And it started that whole ball rolling. But then these people, they put these things, these labels. They say, no, you can't do that. When I was a kid, before CDs and all this stuff, I had that record turntable thing where you put like 8 albums and they drop one at a time.
Absolutely.
I had Electric Ladyland, double album. I had Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Mountain, early Scorpions with Uli Roth. All of these things were mixed.
Right.
Like I said, with the Elton John and with all of that. I never said, no, I can't. You can't listen to Elton John after you just listen to the Scorpions. I mean, it was just music.
Yeah.
And, it's a shame that people do that, but, all right, what was I saying?
It goes into the stew of what makes, what ends up making, music.
I forgot to wish Jazindra luck there.
Yeah, well, we wish her luck. Brian, calls coming in from all over America for Vito Bratta. Brian in South Carolina. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how you doing, man?
We're good.
Hey, Brian.
I just want to give you props, man, for having this guy on finally after all these years.
Well, it's not like I haven't tried. Give him props. He finally said yes. He got tired of me bugging him for the last 15 years.
Well, I'm getting to that, man. Vito, man, you're a hero to so many people. You got so many fans out there. And I was just wondering 2 things. One, if you'd written anything in the past, years of silence that you've been out of the industry. And also was curious if you checked out that website that all your fans are on, all the letters and all the stuff. And I just hope to hear you play again, man. Thanks for everything.
Is the death metal guy on there?
That's probably the guy.
That's the guy. He's the webmaster. He's the death metal guy. But he really loves When the Children Cry. It's his favorite song in real life.
So, yeah, I've written... I have songs. I mean, I've written songs, and they're not on tape. They're in my head. I've got probably an album's worth of material of just me and a nylon string guitar, a classical guitar, because that's the only thing that my fingers can seem to play without being in pain. And
that's a disheartening thing to hear, because Snake Sabo, who when Vito was at my house just this past December, we were doing a little bit of memory lane stuff, and I called Snake at the same time Vito was there, and I put Snake on the phone, and Snake has been dealing with his own issues with his arm and his hand that have been causing him problems too. And it's funny because, and I told Vito this, they talked on my phone for a little while, and then Vito handed me back my phone, and I said to Snake, I'm like, okay, I'll call you later, whatever. And Snake goes to me on the phone. He's like, what's he doing there? Like, where's he been? What's going on? I go, he came over with his mom and his girlfriend to see my daughter, whatever. And Snake goes to me, listen, you got to talk to that guy, he goes, because the world can live without me playing guitar, but the world can't live without us hearing Vito Bratta play guitar. And I swear to, and Snake said that, and that's coming from Snake, who I think is a pretty good player himself.
No, he's a great guitar player. I mean, I go back with him. I wish I could remember the name of the band, but we used to play at the Fountain Casino in New Jersey, and it was his band and my band. My band, I remember, of course, the name was Dreamer, but his band, I just can't. I gotta get a hold of him and remember the name, and I feel bad because I used to unplug him while he was playing. I just used to be standing there on the side of the stage, and I would just walk over and unplug him and walk away. And he must, you know, all those years he must have been saying, what is wrong with that guy? But
I could call him right now, but neither of us will get a word in edgewise for the remainder of the show. So, all right, let's play a song. What do you want to play? You want to play a White Lion song or something you want to
actually,
pick?
Actually, honestly, I would love to send a song out to the troops.
Oh, absolutely!
So all the soldiers are in the war right now, and you know I'm a big supporter of them, and
me as well.
I just you know it's funny. Do I have time for just a little story?
Yeah, but tell me what song we're playing so that I can cue it up while you're telling the story.
It's your choice.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Do you want to play a White Lion song? Or you want to play something you wanted to hear from another band? What didn't we get to that you wanted to play? You want to play a Van Halen song or something, or
yeah, play a Van Halen song. Play Eddie's famous song, Eruption. How about that?
Hold on a minute. Hold on. You got tell your story.
All right, I'll tell my story. Actually, something when we were in Europe doing Main Attraction, I think we were in Germany, and we came out of a show, and there was these kids who were, you know, just your regular kids who were outside of a show. I'm going to talk to Wayne here.
I'm listening.
Is that okay, Wayne? So, and these kids are just hanging out, and they're just like your regular fans outside, and there was like 3 or 4 of them. They're all standing there. And after we signed autographs and everything, I said, you know, so what are you guys doing here? Because they're all speaking perfect English and everything. They said, well, you know, we just finished Desert Storm. And I'm looking at them. I said, what are you talking about? You just finished it. They said, well, this is, and the guy introduced himself. And to me, I mean, I was only 27 years old or whatever, 28, and he looked like a little kid to me. He said, this is me, and he introduced himself. He says, this is my crew. And this is my gunner. This is my radar guy. Yeah. And he says, yeah, well, you know, we play Radar Love or something. I forgot what song he played. Maybe Radar Love wasn't even out. But, you know, he's asking, you know, for autographs and everything. I says, it's just something snapped inside me. I says, you guys are the heroes.
Absolutely.
I should be asking for your autograph. And I just, you know, what these guys are going through out there, if they're listening on the internet and whatever, I just, you know, a heartfelt thanks and for protecting us and for, you know, fighting for our freedom.
I agree. 100%.
As a matter of fact, why don't you play "Fight for Freedom"? Do you have that?
Yes. Hold on, man. Now I got to go find it. Hold on.
All right, you got to go find that. I'll talk to Wayne. Wayne, you have any good?
Your story.
You have any good? You're standing there with that bottle.
It's a good bottle. I'm talking into the mic this time.
Come on, tell a story.
Hold on. What do you want to play? Which song do you want to play again?
"Fight for Freedom." It's off Big Game.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
What? Oh, see, I write the song. And
Cry for freedom.
Cry for freedom. I'm saying fight for freedom. That's that's what's in my brain is what these guys are doing for us. But the song is Cry for Freedom.
Anything you want to tell about this before we hit it besides what you just did? Remember writing it? Any story about recording it? Anything of interest, or just play it?
No, I just a heartfelt thanks to the troops.
Here it is, Cry for Freedom from White Lion's Big Game CD. Vito Bratta is in the studio. More music, more of your phone calls, more discussion on this special edition show as Vito breaks a 15-year silence right here. There it is, Cry for Freedom from White Lion's third album, Big Game. And joining us in the studio, in case you tuned in late, Vito Bratta, the band's outstanding guitarist, telling some stories, sharing some memories, and we're going to continue to do that in the final hour of the show. More of your phone calls as well. We'll do all that right after we do this commercial break. Back with the final hour of this special show here. It's Eddie Trunk. Vito Bratta has been hanging out the whole way, and he's going to continue to do so in this final hour. And the lines are just totally jammed here as people still want to get through and say hello and welcome Vito back to at least speaking and being back into the rock and roll world somewhat. Next step is we'll get him to get a guitar and then get a band, speaking. And we're back to speaking publicly at least.
You have a guitar here?
I wish we did. I don't think we did, but we'll have to plan that for the next time. I didn't want to put too much burden on you, you know. It took me 15 years to get you here. I want to stick a guitar in your hands now on top of everything else. What do you want? A few more calls and we'll play some more music. And let's, man, so many people have been waiting so long. Let's talk to Mark in Jersey, in Old Bridge. Hey, Mark, you're live on the air.
Hey, Eddie, how you doing?
We're good.
Hey, Vito, honored to talk to you.
Hey, Mark. Honor's mine.
Vito, I am also from Staten Island, and you know, I don't know if people around the country realize the magnitude of how respected you really are pre-White Lion. I was only about 13. I was only about 13 when you were in Dreamer, and too young to go to any of your shows. But everyone in Brooklyn and Staten Island knew who the heck you were before you were even in White Lion.
Oh, well, thank you.
And it was just great, just seeing your whole progression. You guys making it, growing up in Staten Island, and hanging out in Lemore's. It made everyone feel part of what you guys were doing. It was such a great time just to see you guys make it. Someone from the neighborhood actually make it.
Yeah, thank you. That was funny because when the band made it and we were all of a sudden in these arenas with, Aerosmith and AC/DC and Ozzy and everything, I always felt bad. I says, well, what about all our people, back in the old days? You wish you could put them all on a bus and bring them with you.
Yeah, well, you know what? You inspired a lot of us to get up off our butts and try to make a go of it also. So
well, thank you. Now I got to get off my
exactly.
butt
now we got to inspire Vito. So,
well, you know what's amazing? Hearing you talk tonight regarding your situation, why you didn't play. You know what? In this whole age of all this plasticity and with celebrities, it's just wonderful to hear someone as successful and talented as you putting their priorities in line, where other people, like you said, would just go out and have a good time and leave. God knows what else left behind, and that's such a respectable and admirable thing. And if you never played again because you had stuff to take care of, God bless you. I hope you have a great life, man, because you've touched us all.
Well, thank you.
You know what? I did have one question. I know my memory is a little flaky. In '86, when even before Pride came out, didn't you guys open up for a Triumph at the Meadowlands?
Oh, actually,
that was Mountain and Loudness.
Yeah, no, I think that was Yngwie.
It was okay. No, I thought you guys got pulled on that tour.
But we played with Triumph in the Providence. I don't know. It was a big 20,000-seat arena. Or I don't know what it was, but no, it wasn't the Meadowlands. I think I don't know. For some reason, I'm remembering Yngwie was offered that show.
There was a tour. There was a show at the Meadowlands because I still have the T-shirt somewhere, believe it or not, and it was called the Rock and Roll Summit, and it was Triumph, Mountain, and Loudness. Is that annoying you that he's taking pictures? Did you ask him if you can take pictures first?
You got to speak to my manager. I mean, that's.
I tell him all the time to ask people first before he starts taking pictures of them, and he just came in and started taking a picture. Go smash the camera like one of those rock star moments. You son of a bitch.
He doesn't look like he used to.
You do look like you used to, though. That's the problem.
The hairspray. In 1980, would I walk in the 80s? Would I walk in with a wool? I feel like the Edge.
It's 20 below outside.
Oh, I know.
The Edge.
I know. I also would have had a car drop me off at the front door. I had to take the train.
Exactly. And you don't even get, you exactly would add like a label sending you. Business isn't the way it used to be anymore, my friend.
I'm going to try to hitch a ride with Wayne here. You got the patrol car? Or?
Right out front. Colin, let's go to Pennsylvania. Colin, you're live on the air. What's happening?
Hey, Eddie, how's it going?
It's going okay. Except for Vito may want to smash the camera out of Andrew's hands.
How you doing, Vito?
How's it going, Colin?
Hey, I just want to say, first and foremost, that you are one of the most amazing melodic guitar players, and you're really a big influence on my playing.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I have a question for you.
That's it. I got to pick up a guitar again. This is ridiculous.
See, we're accomplishing our mission, folks.
All right.
Keep going.
I have a question for you, Vito. I've been working on the solo to Little Fighter. It's a crazy piece of music.
So have I.
I was just wondering if you would ever release a tab book or a guitar instructional DVD to demonstrate some of the techniques that you did.
Well,
he can't remember himself.
I am the one looking for a tab so I can relearn this stuff. A tab. I'm pissed off that when I recorded all this stuff, I didn't immediately put this stuff down. Write it down, because I got to be honest with you, I don't remember it.
Oh, man.
I'm going to have to, and I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he said...
Coming back to you at all?
That's a guitar. I'll figure it out. Are you playing the song, Eddie?
I'm just playing the intro to give you a little refresher so you can remember.
Oh, no, I think he was talking about the solo.
Yeah, the solo.
Yeah, I think I did that song in a different key, but...
It was tuned up a whole step.
Yeah, so no, I don't know of any tabs out there, but when I figure this stuff out again, which I promise myself I'll do, I'll put it down and maybe I could post it somewhere on the internet and, you know, I don't know. You want to help me?
Thank you, Colin, for the call.
Thank you, Colin.
Another call from PA. Jason, you're live on the air. How are you?
I'm doing real good.
What do you got? What's your question? Go ahead.
First of all, Eddie, thank you so much for dragging Vito out of the darkness.
Well, thank him. He had to be the one that said yes. I just kept pushing.
Vito, you're an influence to a lot of us, and we love your music.
That's what that death metal guy said.
Yeah, well,
come over to the darkness.
Yeah.
Step out of the light.
When are your fans going to see a Vito CD? Acoustic or electric?
Oh, God. See, I knew someone was going to put me on the spot.
Come on, man. We love you, and we want to hear it.
Everybody's goosing them, man. Everybody's pushing them a little bit here and there, so...
And I've got like 5 questions, so we got to answer quick.
Well, you got to go quick, so go ahead. He doesn't have an answer to your first one, obviously.
All right, cool.
Give me your best question.
Shout out to my boy Ninja, who wants to know, where was the inspiration for the intro to Let's Get Crazy? Where'd that come from, man?
He's trying to remember the song.
The intro?
Yeah.
Oh, I just remember everything that had to do with that song was Stevie Ray Vaughan. It was just, you know, I don't know why. You know, it doesn't sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan, but...
This is it right here, right?
Yeah, is that what you mean by the intro?
Yeah.
It's like an AM radio thing going on?
Yeah, that's my boy's jam.
It's kind of a blues thing.
And Vito?
Yeah.
Who's this guy Mike you keep talking about?
Mike? Who I keep talking about, Mike?
Yeah. Who's Mike?
Who's Mike?
We know who Vito is.
Oh, Mike Piazza. Was that?
No, this Tramp guy. Who's he?
Oh, Mike Tramp. Yeah, well...
Hey, now look, everything was going so well up to that point. Now you got to bring the negatives into it.
Nah, that's not negative.
Listen.
I went through too much with Mike Tramp to be negative against him. I get pissed. You know, just like I would get pissed at my brother or something, but I just went through too much to sit here and start bad-mouthing him. I'm just not going to do it, you know? Sometimes a little blurb will come out, but it was too much. I mean, we went from the basement to the garden. So how could I be...
Who did you guys play the garden with?
AC/DC.
Yes, that's right. I remember that. That was the... what AC/DC record was that at the time? I forget which one that was.
The video... was that Blow Up Your Video?
Yeah, maybe it was. Something like that.
Was it? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you're right. All right, let's play a song or two. What do you want to play? You want to play something... we didn't do the Van Halen. You want to play some Van Halen?
Did you ever find that Scorpions song?
No, I gave it to you. Which song did you want to hear?
That Sales... Oh, you gave it to me.
Yeah.
It's not even here.
What? Which song do you want?
The Uli Roth stuff.
Yeah, that's on there, the first disc. And the second disc is the live album. That's all Uli Roth.
Really? Where's the Sales of...
Sales of Sharon?
Yeah, where's that at?
It's not on there?
No, I don't see it.
Hold on.
Come on, you got to get your Uli Roth going.
You know, that's another thing. There's another guy. You either absolutely people love and worship the guy, or people never heard of him. It's one extreme or the other with him. Sales of Sharon is not on either of those records, but I'm going to find it for you. And since we were talking about this song, let's play this one from White Lion. This is Let's Get Crazy, and we'll continue with Vito Bratta, and we'll find some Uli Roth to play, and we'll take more of your phone calls a little bit later on. Stick around. Feeling to me, it's just so Scorpions. Just picture like beer steins going through the air.
That was just incredible hearing that again.
Uli John Roth era Scorpions. We've talked about them many times. A lot of people feel that, or only know Scorpions from the Blackout period on, but they had many records with Uli John Roth as their guitar player throughout the 70s. And that is from the Taken by Force album, Sales of Sharon, a great one. Obviously an influence on you, Vito?
I couldn't live without that song.
You could hear a little, now that you pointed that out, and now that I listened to that song and his playing, I could definitely hear that.
It was just, back then it was a lot of the Hendrix guys,
he's a total Hendrix disciple.
Yeah, I mean, I just had those guys just revolving in a loop. It was just Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush, Robin Trower, Uli Roth.
How about Rory Gallagher? Did you ever listen to Rory Gallagher?
Yeah, I listened to Rory, but it was just a little... there was a certain time in my life where I went for the technical guys, the guys who were doing stuff that, not blues-based, just more of, I'm not saying Rory Gallagher doesn't play like that, but maybe I was gravitating more towards the Hendrix-type stuff.
I never really heard Rory's stuff, but the reason why I ask you that is because Glenn Tipton was here not too long ago, and that's his all-time favorite guitar player.
Really?
Glenn Tipton. So I thought, it's always interesting to see, the guys that, we all love, where they kind of, got their inspiration from.
Yeah, it's just, in my case, it was just a blend. I loved Peter Frampton. When people say, well, your solos were melodic and White Lion, well, that's all Peter Frampton, all of it.
Great player. Yep.
But, Peter Frampton by himself, you end up just doing melodies. But then I had to have the other side of it. Right. The aggressive part of it, and that was, like I said, Robin Trower, Uli Roth, and Pat Travers, was all of these great guitar players in the Rick Derringer. Mm-hmm. All of those guitar players. Everything to me back then was guitar.
Yeah.
It was, and it was funny because Elton John was such a big part of what I listened to, and that had no no guitar at all.
Right. But I'm sure it had a big impact on your songwriting.
Well, yeah, obviously, the melodies and everything,
sure.
And that's why, when White Lion had a certain sound, it always had a melody. So we were different. No, we were not Metallica. We weren't trying to be Metallica back then. When people back then would say, well, I just saw Metallica. Well, we weren't trying to be that way. But, when you grow up listening to Elton John, and I've read where Axl Rose, the same thing. Elton John, was a big influence. That comes out in the songwriting, and... You want to hear melodies, you want to hear something catchy, you want to hear some harmonies and all that stuff. But then when it comes time to that part of the song where they say, well, now you got to play a solo, well, that's when the guitar players come in.
Yeah, and a lot of the whole thing in the 80s too, and even now, I mean, that's a big thing now, and that's why I always, whenever you hear me talk about this show and what I do on the radio, I always just distinguish. I always say hard rock and heavy metal. You'll always hear me say that because I feel they're two very different things, and I play both and like and support both, but they're very different things. And even now, in the 80s, and even now, everything gets in this banner of metal. Bands that never claimed they were metal. And then people are like, dudes, you aren't metal, real metal. Well, that band never said they were metal. That's just, they got put in that category. It was others calling them that. But, there's rock bands, there's hard rock bands, there's metal bands, there's,
Sure, I mean, you just
the death metal guy.
Right, you just played a song, let's get crazy, let's get wild. I mean... We're not trying to be metal there. I mean, I doubt you're going to find me a Slayer album where the guy says, let's get crazy, let's get wild. It's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that, you're, I can't say some of these words.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What words?
Just,
because they're bad or because you actually can't say them?
No, I just got to watch my language.
I'll tell you, I got another show you can say whatever you want on.
Okay, all right.
You can use all those salty words all you want. All right, we got to take a break. Vito Bratta is here. We have about 35 minutes left to go on the show, and the line's still jammed to people that want to get on the line. What I think we need to do is, and again, as I tell people, and if you're a new listener to this show, it's different every week. Sometimes it's a lot of music. Sometimes it's more talk and discussion, which this one clearly is, and with very good reason. Vito hasn't done anything like this in about 15 years. So many of you guys want to jump on the line. With the remaining minutes, we'll get as many calls as we can.
So bad.
What do you mean?
I feel so guilty. I'm sorry.
What do you mean guilty?
Sorry, Ed, that I took so long.
Well, now you know that everyone loves you and that this is like a safe place. And you're very close where you live, so you come and you hang out anytime. Right. And then the times you come now that we've broken the ice here, now you just be like Wayne. You could just come and look at drink beer and not even do anything. You don't even have to contribute. You can just come and hang out anytime you want.
Is it just your show that Wayne's on?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think? Anyone else would let him in the building?
Or does he stay here all day? He's a happy guy.
All right, let's take a break right now. More calls with Vito Bratta coming up right after this.
Friday Night Rocks with Eddie Trunk.
Real quick, speaking of something I need to address real quick here is that in the last couple of weeks we've been talking about another one of my favorite guitar players, and that is John Sykes. And another one of my missions is getting a Blue Murder reunion to happen. And people are only going to hear what they want to hear and twist and reinterpret things. But a couple weeks ago, I did acknowledge that I'm working on it and talking to John about it, and I stressed that it was not confirmed in any way. And then, of course, what happens on the internet is that a million sites pick it up and say that there is a Blue Murder reunion and album and tour. What'd you say, Wayne?
It's confirmed.
It's confirmed. There's an album, there's a tour, and then, I'm talking to Sykes all week, and then the other two guys in the band get pissed off and think something. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I appreciate the enthusiasm and the power that this show has with people, but you've got to listen clearly to what I say and don't make it up, because it can work against us to get this stuff done, which, was a little bit of the case this week, but I think we're still working towards that goal. We'll see. Maybe we'll do a dual night of the great lost guitar players. We'll have the Vito Bratta, John Sykes double bill. That would be cool.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Don't you think the promoters would go nuts for that, Vito?
Yeah, that's it.
Vito Bratta is here. It's
Is that confirmed?
What? That's happening. Let's put that one out there.
Yeah, that's confirmed. I'm here.
We're playing the Garden. That's it. It's happening. All right, so Vito's here. We got 30 minutes left to go in the show, and we're going to get some phone calls in now. I know you guys have been waiting for a long time, but please, we're going to move through these really quick. So please get to your question. Let's move as quick as we can so we can get as many of them in with our remaining moments left to go in the show. We'll go out to Illinois right now and welcome in Chad. Hey, Chad, you're live on the air.
Hey, Eddie. Thank you for this interview with Vito. Vito,
hey, Chad. How's it going?
Hey, man. Just want to say thank you for the inspiration as a guitar player.
No, thank you.
Got a question for you. You guys were talking earlier about all the, the rumors on the internet about, where you're at, what you're doing. And one rumor that caught my attention, I want to know if there's some truth to it. Were you ever involved in real estate?
Oh, real estate, that's right.
Yeah.
That's another thing. No, I was not involved with real estate. I don't know.
What was the rumor?
Just that he, went off to... He got involved in real estate.
I saw, when people send me stuff, because I try not to go on the internet and search out these things, and there are a few websites that people have done about me that is a real honor and compliment. Sometimes I can't get in there because you got to sign up and all this stuff, and there's rumors. One guy said, he's into computers.
Right.
Like I turn my computer on, I search the web. I mean, I don't know. Is that being into? I'm not making a living from computers. Real estate. That's part of it's. It's like if I put my money in stock. Someone says, "Well, he's works in Wall Street." I mean, I invested my money in a real estate deal, and that was it. I don't know anything about real estate. I gave my money to a friend of mine who did real estate. He used that as an investment. That was it. I don't do real estate. I don't know anything about real estate.
Speaking of computers, someone who we played earlier in the show who did make a ton of money in computers, we played Angel, Greg Giuffria.
Really?
Invented some computer chip that's in slot machines in Las Vegas. It's a patented thing that's in all the slot machines. The guy is like beyond loaded.
Call him then.
What do we want from him? Can we borrow a couple bucks?
Just get some pizzas. Actually, you know something? Mick Mars. We were playing the Forum in L.A., and Mick Mars was backstage. And he comes up to me. He goes, "Put your money in, what was it? Microsoft." And I'm looking at him. What is this guy? Microsoft what? Like, what's this?
Hey, if Mick did that...
This was in 1988 or 89. So I wonder how he did.
Well, if Mick listened to his own advice, they wouldn't have to prop him up anymore to do these reunion tours, because he could just he could be supine and enjoying life, man.
But anyway, to answer his question, no, I don't do real estate at all. I don't know what that is.
Larry and Patchogue, you're on with Vito Bratta.
Hey, Vito, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Larry?
All right, my friend. It's great to hear your voice back, and it's really nice to hear, that you've kept a low profile, but, doing things that are very commendable.
Oh, thank you.
And I just want to wish you the best of luck in anything that you've done. Hey, just got a question to ask you. Whatever happened to those custom ESP guitars that you used to play in the White Line videos, that Stratocaster with the White Line logo painted in the middle?
Every guitar I have, I've never sold a guitar, and they're all sitting at home in various stages of dismantling. And unfortunately, I was a tinkerer, and I could never leave a guitar alone. But I don't know how to work on guitars, so I basically would take a guitar apart and then call up a guitar tech and say, "Please help," because I have these pieces now. But everything I have, custom ESP guitars with a White Line logo. Was it black?
He's gone, but
he's gone?
I got to keep moving, yeah. But
jeez. Come on, Ed.
What am I going to do? We're going to be here all night. We could be doing this.
The poor guy.
I know, but they get their question and we got to go. We got 15 other people that are yelling that they're not on right now.
I hope they blame you, not me.
They can blame me. It's my show.
All right.
I'm sorry. I appreciate all the calls, but I said we got to keep moving. And by the way, we're getting a lot of calls, as you can see, from all over the country. And remember, if you guys are not getting this show on your local station and you're listening to it online, your local station can carry it. Just tell them that you want it. Just like we've got, AF in Boston now, wherever you are, bang the drum a little bit so you can get this show on your local radio station. Mike.
Ed.
Mike, you're live on the air, buddy. How are you?
Ed, how are you?
Good. Do you know who this is, Vito?
Do I know who this is?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Vito, how you doing, brother?
Mike.
I used to work at Lemoore back in the day. I actually worked security for you guys for quite a few years. Without going into specifics, my father was the owner of Lemoore.
Vito's got the most perplexed look on his face in the world right now.
Came down to Virginia to see you guys with the former DJ of Lemoore.
Oh, man.
Mike Falaise.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Come
Vito,
on.
what's up, brother?
Mike, what are you doing?
How are you?
Couldn't we eat it up a half an hour with Vito's perplexed look while people are trying to burn the phone lines down to get through?
No, I was just thinking about that pizza. Wait a minute, I own a pizza place. No, I don't.
That's right, you own a pizza place.
Mike, what are you doing? Mike, talk about a long time. Where you been?
Where have you been? You've been gone for 15 years. I've been around.
I'm in Staten Island. I'm always at the mall.
I see Eddie all the time. I don't see you anywhere.
Giant Stadium tailgates.
Tomorrow's Saturday. I'll be at the mall.
Yeah.
Walking around. Listening to people go, is that the guy? No, that can't be.
Hey, Mike, do you have a question? Because I got to keep moving.
Hey, I just want to find out if you do something, are you going to go back with Loud and Proud, or are you going to go on your own?
There is no more Loud and Proud.
There is.
All right, how about George and Mike?
George and Mike, I love those guys. Well, it's George's wedding anniversary tonight, 33 years.
George and Mike Prente, the original managers of White Line.
Yeah.
And the owners, partial, also partners in Lemoore. So
George will always be a part of anything I do.
Mitch in Brooklyn. Hey, Mitch, you're on with Vito Bratta.
Hi, Eddie. Thanks for having him on. I'll cut to the chase.
Thanks.
I just want to say not only is Vito Bratta a fantastic guitar player, but I don't know if Vito remembers me. I met him a few times out in the island, and to everybody out there listening, he's a really genuine guy. I mean, when I met him, I just hit him with a lot of questions on the street, and he was really just answering them, being friendly and everything like that, which was fantastic. It blew me away.
Is this Mitch who comes up to me and...
Yeah, it's me.
Hey, Mitch, how are you?
How you doing? You wanted to buy my car, I remember.
Yeah, Mitch is a good friend.
You know what, Mitch? It's just that Vito's the jerk, like, privately. Like, publicly, he's the nice guy, but privately, he's a total dick.
He was all right. He was cool. I hit him
I'm just kidding, for God's sakes.
No, Mitch is he's just one of those guys. He's just, I love you, Mitch.
Hey, thanks, man. I love you, too. That's fantastic of you to say.
All right, Mitch, thanks for the call, man.
All right,
did you have a question or no?
Vito, how hard would it be to those demos that you made after White Line to kind of put them on the side or something for free downloads?
Yeah, well, it's amazing because you're actually asking me that out front like that, but that's the reason I try to keep track of these demos, because I don't want them on the internet. They're really not polished, but I don't know, Mitch. It's something I'll think about. If I can get them into a studio and get them sounding okay, then there's a possibility. I will definitely let you know.
Either that or just go do some new stuff, either or. Just something,
Yeah.
Charlie, you're on with Vito Bratta. These guys have been waiting like close to an hour, so let's get them in real quick. What's up, Charlie?
Hey, what's up? How you doing? Charlie Kuzumara, remember me?
Charlie Cusimano.
It's late in the show. We're getting all the Remember Me calls.
I used to be your roadie for when you were...
Charlie, we're losing you.
Hello.
Whoa, you're going underwater. He waited an hour, and then he went underwater and disconnected. Jeez, Charlie, I'm sorry. You got to try back. 888-872-1043. Tommy, you're on live. What's up, Tommy?
Hey, what's up, Eddie? How you doing, Vito?
How's it going, Tommy?
All right. I saw you guys, first show at L'Amour's back in 83, 84.
Wow.
And the reason I went, though, was because it was being billed as featuring members of Angel. And Felix Robinson played with you guys.
Oh, that's right. Was he there?
I believe he played the show.
Oh, okay.
And my question was, how did you hook up with him, and then why didn't he continue with the band?
Okay, I'm stumped.
Well, how did you hook up with Felix Robinson, and why didn't he stay in the band?
Oh, I don't remember. I thought we put out an ad or something, and he answered it, and...
He was out of Angel, obviously. The Angel had been broken up a few years ago.
Obviously, no, he didn't look like, he didn't look like Angel anymore. Me and Mike were there, and, we all look like we're in a 80s rock band, and he showed up with his hair all cut off, and I didn't even recognize him at first, but, why he didn't work out. We had a lot of bass players and drummers. You mentioned Bruno Ravel, and...
He was in White Lion, too?
Bruno Ravel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Dave Spitz...
I knew he was
Danny Spitz's brother, right. And just a lot of people. It's just personalities, things. Dave Spitz was offered the Black Sabbath,
right, and
he left us to join Black Sabbath, and then that lasted maybe a month.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly the specific reasons. It's just it's like asking somebody 20 years ago, why'd you break up with a girl? It just happened.
Gary, you're live on the air. Go ahead. What's up?
I mentioned Greg and James today.
What's that?
I mentioned Greg and James Clemento and Greg D'Angelo.
We mentioned them, yeah.
Because I read in an interview that they don't want to play with each other anymore. So if there ever is a reunion, it's like one or the other. So, Vito, I was wondering what your relationship was with those guys. Have you seen them lately? Are you friends with them?
No, I saw Greg about 10 years ago, and I saw James about, I don't know. Have I ever seen James? Yeah, it just seems like there's this bad blood between all four individually, against this one, against that one. It just seems like a whole mess. I don't know how to get over that. It's all these different personalities, but I couldn't tell you why Greg and James won't play with each other.
Where back then they would only play with each other for a long time.
Well, that's the whole thing. I felt a connection to James Lomenzo, for instance. But James was hooked up with, it was almost like this thing of the non-songwriters against the songwriters because of this reason and because of that reason. And it was just such a stupid stuff that eventually breaks up bands. You work your whole life to form a band and become successful, and then stupidity gets in the way. I don't know. I'd hate to have a situation where people did a reunion just for money, because I was already offered that. And there are people saying, oh, Vito, he's all about the money. It's exactly the opposite. I was offered the money to do the reunions, but I'm not going to go up there just for a paycheck.
And James, these days, for the people that don't know, James is the bass player in Megadeth. He's been in Megadeth for the last year. He played with Roth. He's played with Zakk Wylde and Black Label Society. So James actually has probably been the most active of the four guys, known from the lineup, the classic lineup of White Lion in terms of, playing and touring. He hasn't really stopped, in any of the stuff. And, I just want, Vito's obviously, giving his, feelings about the guys, whether it be Mike, James, or Greg, and talking very honestly about where things are at. And, all these guys are, we all kind of grew up through this scene together, so I can sense where you're, I get the vibe of where you're coming from. That it's very much like a brotherhood. You guys did some amazing things together, and, there's always going to be that bond. And as far as I'm concerned for this show, just so you guys know as listeners, it's kind of a similar thing to people always talk about how I'm friends with the guys in Skid Row and friends with Sebastian, and, they both have open doors to come and do this show. Mike Tramp, I could go on and tell the same stories I'm telling with Vito about my time with Mike. So, the door's open here for anybody to come in. This isn't about taking sides or choosing sides or anything like that. It's just about, living the memories, and, you can see there's this, no matter what barbs go on in the press or what people say, there's always going to be that stronger connection. And again, it goes back to when I think about Ace and talk to Ace all the time, and all the craziness that goes on in the Kiss world, and who's in, who's out, who's dressing who like who. But at the end of the day, if you really back those guys into a corner, they'll all say, you know what, it's like brothers. We did something that will always hold us together, even if we don't talk for 10 years.
But all of that stuff is always there. I just finished a book on, I just read a book about Jim Morrison. And it's the same story. Every band, every generation, I mean, this is a band in the 60s, I mean, the Beatles and everything. It's always this... I mean, that's got to be the hardest thing, to get four guys in a room who are going to love each other for the next 30 years and never step on anybody's toes. There's always going to be something.
Yep.
And it's sad. It's sad that happens. And it's a shame that you take it into your personal life, too.
Yeah.
Where even they'll say, well, I can't be in a band with you, but I also don't ever want to speak to you again.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I just... that's it.
Couple more quick ones, and then we are going to be done. We'll play another song and wrap it up. Indiana, Nathan, hi, you're on the air with Vito Bratta.
Hey, how you doing, Eddie?
I'm good, thanks.
Hey, Vito, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Nathan?
I'm real good. Hey, I'm the creator of a fan website, and I don't know if it's okay to mention the name or not.
Are you the death metal guy?
Death metal guy?
No.
Are you twitching right now?
I come in peace.
Okay.
Is it okay to mention the name?
Go ahead. Give it a plug.
It's Vito-Bratta.com, and I'm kind of asking on behalf of a lot of people who've written you letters, Vito. Do you ever get a chance to get over there and read any of those?
Have you ever visited that fan site? Do you visit any of your fan sites?
I've seen some of them, and of course, I mean, they're just unbelievable compliments. But this, I get hung up on the sites where you got to register. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like to just cruise through websites, but when they start asking for a credit card or to register,
I don't blame you. I wouldn't do that either.
I've got a message bar on the site where you have to register to view it.
Do you think? Wait a minute, Nathan. Do you think that maybe you could give Vito Bratta a special password to Vito-Bratta.com or whatever?
Absolutely.
It is?
Hey,
just maybe you could throw him a bone since you're using his name.
I've got the name reserved and everything. If you want to shoot me an email,
I get afraid that they're going to get my computer address and they're going to say
caller ID on the computer.
That's also the guy that looks at midgets.com. Are you the website that had pictures of me with my car when I bought it or something?
Yeah, somebody posted that, and they felt real bad real quick afterwards. So they took it back down, and they've been kind of popping up here and there. We've deleted them, when they do seem to pop up.
Yeah, that was the pictures of the red sports car.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right, Nathan. Well, email me through EddieTrunk.com the password, and then I'll get it to Vito for you.
Did you have a question?
Hey,
Did you have a question?
Yeah, well, one more thing I wanted to say. I'm kind of also guilty of perpetuating the real estate rumor. So
this guy's coming clean. He's having a cathartic moment. He's letting it all out. Yes, it was me that put the pictures in the car. Me, the real estate.
No, I didn't admit to that. That was somebody else.
Did you also say Vito was working in the deli too, or no?
No.
There was actually a website once when
not like there's anything wrong.
What was the name of that website where there was somebody on a website who said that they knew everything about me and everything was wrong. Everything, just everything.
Yeah.
My name was Jay Greenbaum or something, and I lived in Florida with my kids were jamming with Mike Tramp's kids.
As if Vito Bratta would be a stage name. That's what you would go at.
Yeah, my real name was Jay Green. What was it, Jay Greenbaum or something?
Oh man, Nathan, thanks. We got to move along.
Nathan, is that your website? Is that your website?
I'm sorry?
Is that your website?
Vito-Bratta.com is my website.
Well, it's just a major compliment. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate it. It's an honor.
And I promise
years.
I'll get in there and I'll check it out and I'll email you all stuff that's wrong about it.
As long as you don't ask for his credit card, you're good.
Hey, no problem.
All right,
I'll send you an email, Eddie. Thanks.
This website's showing me driving this. It's funny. I live in this small little town, and I'm driving this bright red Lamborghini, and it's where is he hiding?
It's scary. There could be pictures of us in '87 at the Oakwoods going to see, going to the car show when Tom Peterson crawled out of the shrubs
in
a drunken stupor. I remember so much of this. We could go on and on because, like I said, you go back more than 20 years with people.
We went out the night before, and it was the guys in Cheap Trick, us, Eddie was there, and we went to the Rainbow.
The funniest thing about that night, just to cut you off real quick, was Rick Nielsen. Because I was working for Megaforce at the time. Rick Nielsen, we went to that Mongolian barbecue place.
Right, the Mongolian barbecue.
In L.A. And Rick Nielsen, just because I worked for a label, but I didn't work for White Lion's label or Cheap Trick's label. I was just there with you guys.
He wanted you to pay for it.
He was breaking my balls. And this is when Cheap Trick had the Flame, and they were, like, doing huge business. And I'm looking at him like, Rick, not for nothing, but I can't expense this because neither of you guys are on my label. And he's going to me, well, he goes, we may need a label and it would mean a lot more. We'd have a better shot at signing us if, you picked up the dinner. I'm like, Rick, I love you guys, but I'm here to, I'll kick in for my part, but I can't do this. I can't expense it. I can't afford it myself. Now, funniest thing is, like, I didn't see Rick Nielsen for like 15 years, and this is going back already 10 years ago, and I have Rick on this show on the phone, and I say to him, hey, Rick, and the first thing out of his mouth was, you should have picked up the Mongolian barbecue in L.A. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Call him. You got his number?
I don't. I wish I did. One more call here, and then we've definitely got to wrap it up. We got another break, and then we're going to end it. Let's go to Massachusetts. Billy.
Hey, what's up?
Final caller, real quick.
I got two questions. When are you guys going to come out with a live DVD, and are you guys considered a hair band?
Okay, next caller. What was that? The hair band?
We covered this earlier in the show.
I had, we all had hair, right? We all had hair, and
you were in a band.
That's what, it was a part of the 90s where the lack of hair was what you had to have. Right, Wayne?
That's it.
That's how you had to look. I'm not going to talk about the hair thing. I think it's just the stupidest. What was your first question? He may not know that the band really doesn't exist and hasn't for a long time because he's asking if you're going to come out with if there's a live album or DVD that could come out.
Yeah, the only thing I could say about any of these live things or anything that's on that you can purchase out nowadays, all I would say to the fans is make sure, you're better off if you make sure that it's an authorized thing. Otherwise, you're probably going to end up getting ripped off.
All right, I got to do the final break, and we'll come back and wrap this up. As we go to the break, though, we've been talking about this White Lion double CD definitive rock collection. It's a greatest hits record. Features also about a dozen previously unreleased live tracks. So there you go. There's some live stuff for you. And Vito, if you'd be so kind to sign these, I got 5 copies right now. We'll give them away to random callers. 888-872-1043. Vito will sign a copy of the new White Lion double CD, which is available now from Rhino. Again, previously unreleased live material on there, so definitely check it out. We played some of that earlier in the show. Let's do our last break right now. We'll come back and wrap it up with this special show with Vito Bratta right after this. All right, we are totally out of time. Thank you guys so much for listening, however you've been listening to the show. Much appreciated. Again, tell your local station if you're not listening to it on a radio station, you're listening online, let them know you want this show every week. It is available. More information in the syndication section of EddieTrunk.com. Also, of course, the radio section is there for you. Music news, VH1 Classic stuff, it's all there for you as well. I'll be going to L.A. actually next week to do an in-studio TV shoot with Poison about their new record. I'll have a report for you on that and when that airs on VH1 Classic very soon. Vito, what can I say? Thank you. It took forever, but I'm glad that you did this. And I hope you had fun. I hope you were happy that you did this. It's on.
No, thank you, Ed. And a big hug to everybody out there. That's... I'm just overwhelmed. The compliments and just the feeling I gotten, and if I could just give everybody, even that guy who's having a fit, he's got to be passed out by now. What is it on the computer where when you type in the big capital letters to show that you're screaming?
Shouting, yeah.
He was upset. He was upset about this, Ed. Well, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm glad. So you had fun. We could see you again before another 15 years, maybe, I hope?
This was great.
All right, good. Come and hang out with us anytime, and hopefully at some point with whatever band and whatever lineup, there's some music, because I know everyone, I speak on behalf of everyone when I say we just want to hear you play again, man. So.
All right, and if John Sykes doesn't do this, I'll do the Blue Murder thing.
There you go. We can do that, too. Vito Bratta, thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Andrew. And everyone else. And we'll see you again next week. Same time, same radio station. I'm going to leave you with a song from a White Lion album that we didn't touch on tonight. It was the last album that the band did, Main Attraction, and it's probably one of my favorites. I think there's great stuff on this record. I think it's a great sounding record. And I think this song, which was this first single from the album, would have been one of the band's biggest hits if it didn't come out when the timing with the whole grunge thing. I think this is the White Lion hit that should have been, that wasn't, because of the climate and music at the time.
I think this whole album, Main Attraction, should have been album right after Pride.
And I know you wanted to play Lights and Thunder, but we didn't have time. That's too long. But we'll get to that in the coming weeks.
I mean, some more geared towards your show. But
yeah, we'll do that, though. I'll definitely do that. Okay. Here's Love Don't Come Easy from White Lion's final album to date. Who knows what the future holds, but we'll find out together.